Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDonald. Joined as always by my trusty co-host, who doesn't always get his lines exactly right, Tyson Franklin. Tyson, how's it going today?
I'm fantastic today. Big Jim, this is take 2 of the introduction. How many times have I buggered up the beginning? You rarely make a mistake. You are a true professional.
No, I'm the king of the ums and the likes, but I'm decent at the beginning, I guess.
Oh, I butcher. I reckon 50% of the time we do this podcast, I stuff up the beginning because my brain, I get sidetracked really fast. And if something just catches my attention, then I lose my train of thought. So yeah. I apologize.
It happens to the best of us.
But anyway, this podcast is going to be an awesome, regardless of how badly I started. This podcast is going to be great. And we are talking about, I'm not even going to wait for you to ask me the question. We're talking about audit your marketing strategy. That is today's topic.
Well, it's like they say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So I'm excited to jump into this audit and how you think about auditing a podiatry marketing strategy.
Yeah, that's what I tell my wife. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So, it's new year, 2024. Anyway, so this is about audit your marketing strategy. And there's something, I don't think I've mentioned it on this podcast. I may have when I've spoken about the OODA loop. Have I spoken to you about the OODA loop before?
It sounds familiar, but you'll have to remind me of what the OODA stands for. Yeah,
so the OODA loop, OODA loop, is all about observe, orientate, decide, and act. So it's really about observing. If you want to do something, so what you do is gather information. When you gather that information, you're observing the information, and you can only gather what is basically available to you at the time. Then you orientate, you look at it in different ways, different perspectives, and go, okay, how could I look at this differently? But then at some point you must decide, and when you decide on something, you must take action. Nothing happens until you take action. When you take action, it loops all the way around back to observe, because now you have more information. So every time you act on something, you get more information. And this sort of relates to the auditing your marketing strategy. So at the moment, you may have a strategy in place, and it could be, like, who is your ideal patient? Where are they spending their time at the moment? And then think about, okay, with what you're currently doing, if you put that into the OODA loop, observe it, orientate, decide, take action on it, how does your current strategy, how does it map to the people or the patients that you want to be talking to? Are there changes that you need to be making? So if you just stay on the same strategy without stepping back and actually doing a bit of an audit, you could be going down the wrong path or off a completely different track. And before you know it, it could take you a lot of time or a lot of money to sort of get back on track.
No, I think that's a great point. I think you have to have that feedback loop, right? Otherwise, you're just kind of throwing things out there and see if they stick. But until you have that chance to get that feedback loop and really see what's working and not working and have some way to measure these different actions you're taking, just a lot of action without any reflection is going to lead you down a path that may not be the path you want to go down.
Yeah, well, some people they might do some marketing, whether it's traditional marketing or on some online platform. They put it out there, and because they never stop to actually reflect on that or look at the results, like you said, you don't know whether it's working or not. And sometimes they might do something, it may have worked, and then 2 years later, they've gone, I remember that thing that we did. Did that work or not? So they haven't gathered the information. I used to keep everything in my marketing folder. So each year we had a marketing folder on what we did. And as we were leading into the next year, we would review our marketing folder, all the things we did, what worked, what didn't work, and we didn't make any assumptions on things. And then we would use that information to set a plan up for the following year. And as the years went on, we would have more and more marketing folders that we would go through that had more information that we would plan for the next year. So I think you've got to dig really deep on this and never assume that what you're doing is actually working.
It's feedback and getting the data around the results and having it in like you said, a place where you can easily find it. Because if something worked and you're not aware that it worked, or you're not doubling down on it after you find something that is making significant traction for you for practice, then what was the use in doing it in the first place in a way? So if you have more of a system set up, then you're much more likely to observe the change, observe the progress, and then find ways to repeat it or make it better in the future.
Yeah, well, I was looking at a couple of older episodes we had done, and we've spoken about Facebook ads, and we've spoken about Google ads. And I was on a call early this morning with a group of people in America, and that came up in conversation, Facebook ads and Google ads. And when I stopped and thought about it, I thought, well, if you're advertising on Facebook, Facebook ads are more of an interruption, whereas Google ads are more of something that people are searching for. Now, at the moment, you sort of go, okay, well, where am I advertising at the moment? Do I need to change certain channels or where I'm trying to do my marketing, or do I need to add certain channels? So if you've got a really good marketing idea, is that something that could go well on Facebook because it will interrupt people while they're on there, talking to their friends and family and seeing what the neighbors are up to, and all of a sudden, bang, your ad pops up and they go, wow, is that a real interrupt? Or should you not be doing that, and should you be focusing on the Google ads where people are going, wow, why do my feet hurt when I get out of bed in the morning? And if you haven't changed or added things over a period of time and you're just sticking with that same process, this is where the audit comes in, is to stop, dig a little bit deeper and find out, if I'm advertising on Facebook, is it really working? I don't know, you probably have a better idea, Jim. Do you know too many podiatrists that advertise on Facebook that are killing it?
I would say that people that are advertising on Facebook and Instagram are really trying to, whether it be like shockwave therapy or Swift warts, or try to get some kind of treatment out there that people may not know that exists. And
so it's that interrupt.
It's that interrupt, or is that more of an awareness piece? Because, the common person is not going to understand that there's a painless, way of removing a wart, or there's a better way of treating plantar fasciitis. They're not going to be searching for shockwave therapy or Swift wart removal, right? So you have to find some way to introduce these types of therapies to people in a way that they'll understand, and to try to get their awareness for this procedure. Where on the other hand, people know that what heel pain is, or they know they know where they're located at and the type of person they need to see. Like, if my foot hurts, I want to see my Montreal foot doctor, and they'll search for that. So like you said, that's more what we call intent-based, search, or intent-based advertising, when you can put an ad next to that thing they're actually looking for. So search advertising can be a little bit more helpful, but that's the kind of, what's the right mix of those two different things, right? How much do you want to make people aware that you do shockwave versus you just want to go for something that's more, Montreal podiatrist or something. So if you're trying to be, I think when someone has a niche, it can be a good way to show people that you do exist. But at the same time, like you said, when you're scrolling through, finding out what your ex-girlfriend from high school is doing on Facebook, do you really care that, about an ad about, heel pain, shockwave therapy? There's different ways to get people targeted with those ads, though, right? If they've been on a web page, or they've been searching for things on your own website, like for heel pain, you can make those Facebook or Instagram ads really small and only show to someone that's like, fired that pixel, or these kind of tracking codes that are on your website. But that's been a little bit more limited these days, especially with Apple and other web browsers not allowing those things to have happen. But yeah, you're right. What is that right mix between awareness and intent-based advertising? And that's one clear example of, you need to think about when you're devising a marketing audit or a marketing system about where you want to take your practice.
Yeah, because you might actually find, when you start digging down and asking your patients, especially that question, how did you find out about it? Somebody say, I saw you online, is try and dig that a little bit deeper, especially if you're the owner of the business. If you've got a patient in front of you, have this conversation. Instead of talking about the weather or what they did over the weekend, is dig a little bit, when you said online, what did you actually mean by that? And then if you're doing a big Facebook campaign, is finding out, are people seeing it? Because if they're not, you might find you might want to take that budget and put it all into your Google ads if you know that's where people are coming from. But I know when I'm on Facebook, sometimes I'm biased, because if I see a podiatry ad, I do stop and look at it for some strange reason. But I also find a video will capture my attention far more than just a static ad. I'll scroll really fast, but a video, if it's moving, it makes me stop. Even if it's something I don't want to look at, I tend to stop just to see, do I need another little machine that will make my whiskey taste smoky? I've said a lot of them lately.
When it comes to podiatry ads, I think you and I are maybe a little bit hyper aware, hypersensitive of those things, because I'm really curious to see how even like physical therapists or dentists, how people are, kind of putting out their services in a genuine and authentic way sometimes, or sometimes in a not so authentic way. But I think another example too is that along with the ads piece is, what kind of content is already on your website, right? I think I've had some clients recently who, they do there's kind of that spectrum of care between surgical intervention and conservative care. But things like regenerative medicine, stem cells, amnio, different types of injectables now are kind of becoming more known by the general public in a way. So some of these regenerative medicine type modalities, whether it be stem cells or amnio and things, are being searched more, and people are looking for that online. And I've seen a real uptake. And then these are sometimes things you can't actually advertise on Google, but I've seen an uptake with some of the clients I've been working with that, if you're doing that stuff, you need to make sure it's visible, through Google and through different types of search engines to make sure that it's ranking and you have that on your homepage. Because if you just have I treat plantar fasciitis on there are going to be a certain subset of patients who want to have the newest or the best thing and that are aware of some of these terms. So it's a fine balancing act.
Well, it is. I remember back in 2011 when we first got Shockwave. Now, if you mentioned anything about Shockwave, the first thing that popped into someone's head was Jack Nicholson with a plastic bit thing in his mouth and 2 electrodes on his head. That's what Shockwave meant when you heard the word. And when I first heard it, I'm thinking, my God, that's the last thing I want. I've got a sore foot. I don't want to get electrocuted. But as time went on, and more and more people were hearing about it and investigating it, then, if you were saying treatment for plantar fasciitis, you mentioning Shockwave treatment for plantar fasciitis would be something that people are actually started to search for. So, I think it's not just that term, it's getting a little bit more detail into those articles, which sort of leads me onto one of the other points I wanted to make was, if you map out your patient's journey, where they are on the journey. So a potential patient, there might be people out there who they don't even know you exist. There's other people out there, they know you exist, but they haven't spent any money with you. There's other people that they've come in and they've spent money with you, but they haven't returned. There's ones that return on a regular basis, and then there's other ones that not only they return, they refer a lot of patients to you. So that's 5 different people that could be your ideal patient for a 35-year-old female patient, but there's some out there that have no idea who you are, right through to people who refer all their friends to you all the time. So what you want to find out from these types of people, or how you can try and dig deeper, is what blogs do they read? Just dig deeper. Is what events do these people attend? So you might find, if it's a 35-year-old female, where do these people hang out? If you can find out where they hang out through the patients that already spend money with you, if they spend money with you, then there's going to be another group of people over there who don't even know you exist yet. So you've got to somehow talk to them. And the ones that do know you exist, you've got to get them to convince them to want to spend money with you. And using the existing patients you have is finding what social channels are they using. No point being on Facebook if none of your ideal patients are on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social platform is out there. TikTok. I always like to do the TikTok dance every now and then. If people ever catch you and I, Jim, doing a TikTok dance together and putting it out there.
We're not doing any dancing, but we are Podiatry Marketing. I put some of the clips we have from our shows up on TikTok these days, and they do pretty well on YouTube Shorts and TikTok. You'd be surprised.
I'll have to go and check out TikTok now. Thank you for that. I'll have to wade in between everything. So the last thing I just want to say is, with the audit itself, it's like, are you where you need to be to generate the results that you're after? So if you think about what is it that you want to achieve from your business, what results do you want to get each month? Currently, is the marketing getting you those results? And if you don't step back and just think about it a little bit and start making some changes and tweaks, you could just be doing this year the same thing you did last year and the year before, and your business isn't growing. And then people around you, their businesses are growing, and you wonder, why does their business seem to be doing well and I'm not? So that's what I mean. Look at all the marketing you're doing. Do a really good audit over it all. If you need help with it, talk to Jim. Talk to myself. Reach out to us and say, hey, I need some help with my marketing. Can you help us? Yes, we can. So it's don't just keep doing the same old thing and expect different results. It's not how it works. You must make changes.
And I would say even myself, when I'm looking at how I'm marketing my business, there sometimes can be blind spots when you try to do it all by yourself. So I think, not to shill us too much, but I think having Tyson or me look at your website, look at all the different channels we're trying to be visible on. Who is your ideal patient? Are you speaking to that ideal patient on all these different channels in the way that they want to be spoken to? What are the visuals on your social and on your website? It's a lot maybe for someone that's, in the clinic 9 to 5, 4 days a week and has a day of surgery. It can be tough to do that, but Tyson and I are here to help you out, to make sure that you're on the right track and to kind of focus on those sources of ROI in your marketing that's really going to help you move the needle and build the type of practice you want to have. Because the self audit is a great first place to go, and if you're knowledgeable and you can do it, but just utilize the system like Tyson said. This OODA loop can be very, very beneficial to help sure that you are doing those high value activities, getting the feedback from it, and iterating in a way that helps you walk down that path to the practice you'll be really, really happy with. So
I love the OODA loop. It's one of my favorite things, the OODA loop. Anyone that's done the reboot with me, I rave about the OODA loop. By the time I finished the reboot, or anyone that's done coaching with you for a period of time, they all say the same thing. They love the OODA loop. I'll tell them, oh, we should do this. Yeah, maybe do this. And they go, yeah, and then we'll OODA loop the shit out of this thing. I said, that's it. I said, that's what you've got to do. So yeah, so my final words on this, when you're doing your self audit, you can take it so far, but if you need help, and if you've made some changes, you're not getting the results, you reach out and get help from somebody externally. Even if you've got another podiatry friend, or you've got family, take a look at your website. The amount of websites I go to where there's links broken, spelling mistakes, they've got an image to say one thing, but the photo doesn't even match that image. And these are people that I know that I just haven't gone to the website for a little bit. And you go and look, you go, have you seen this, this, and this? And they go, I thought I'd fixed that already. So it's, like I said, you can't see your own bald spot, thank God.
exactly.
Until there's a camera right in front of you and you can actually see yourself. Okay, Jim, that's all I wanted to talk about on this. Is everyone needs to just audit their marketing, and things will work out a lot better.
All right, Tyson. We'll see you next week.
Okay, see you, Jim. Bye.